in order to achieve that real human fit for Web3, we're missing a lot of the infrastructure that powers that. We're focused on doing it the right way, staying true to our Web3 principle, decentralization, self-custody, agency, self-sovereignty, always keeping the human at the end of it. The technology that we're placing in the hands of developers will enable them to think of new solutions that were previously out of reach for them. Now that I have distributed ownership, distributed risk, account recovery, right? These kind of core tenets of our account infrastructure. How can I better solve these other problems for DeFi, for ownership, for NFTs, right? For Web3, for data privacy. Hey everyone, I'm James Mort, co-founder and co-CEO of Intu, helping lead up the research and development part of our project. Prior to this, I've had a long background in business operations, but most recently with Steven, we're actually working on something called Gware, where we focused on data privacy, data security, and encryption. Web3 native security was kind of our thing.
My name is Steven Mathieson. I'm based out of San Francisco. I'm CTO and co-founder of Intu, and I've been working on this project with Max and James for about a year now. My team and I have been building smart contracts, dApps, integrating cryptographic research and repos, integrating other Web3 products, and building out documentation for Intu.
Hey guys, my name is Max. I'm a co-founder and co-CEO of Intu. I focus primarily on BD, growth, as well as strategy, based out of Lisbon. And about a year ago, I had the fortune of meeting James as well as Steven, and we've been hard at work over the last year. I'm super excited to show you guys what we have built. Intu is not just an infrastructure company. We like to think about it as part of the movement to regain the trust of retail users after the recent collapses that we've seen in the industry. Really thinking about it from a customer-first perspective, taking what is really hard to solve and doing it without compromise, I think.
Okay, so for us, Intu really came out of this desire to help build products and technology that made Web3 more useful for end users. We felt that Web3, a lot of it was machine to machine, and then we just kind of added the humanity on at the end and realized that in order to achieve that real human fit for Web3, that we were missing a lot of the infrastructure that powers that. And so we're focused on doing it the right way, on staying true to our Web3 principles, right? Decentralization, self-custody, agency, self-sovereignty, all the reasons that we're trying to leave Web2. We're making sure that we stay true to that with always keeping the human at the end of it in mind.
We started this project with the goal of being completely decentralized, and so far we've adhered to that. No reliance on any third parties or servers or etc. We did this because we believe in maximizing uptime and minimizing security risks. Any new software you introduce into your software means at least some risk introduction into it. We have a smart contract, but that smart contract really just holds the rules and information for the Intu account, like the participants and some other data. It does not hold the wallet's key or EOA's key that is owned by the individual users themselves. So in doing so, we believe we've got more flexibility, usability, and future-proofing from one of the EOAs that Intu generates.
For us, why do we need this? Why Intu? We've, especially in the past year or so, we've been speaking so much as a community about onboarding the next generation of Web3 users, about making this mainstream, about improving the user experience. But from what we've seen, people have been so eager to get to that endpoint that they've been compromising on how we get there, right? And at the end of the day, if we compromise on decentralization or if we compromise on self-custody, then we end up in a very similar position to where we are today, where other people are controlling the infrastructure, other people are controlling our digital identities, and removing that agency that we've tried so hard to build into Web3. So by building this as infrastructure and building this fully decentralized, and by limiting the dependencies that you need in order to create these better accounts, right, to create a better experience for our end users, we're enabling people to have the confidence to step into Web3. That it's no longer terrifying to lose your private key, because with that private key goes your digital assets, things that you own, things of value, parts of your identity. I mean, someday it might be the deed to your house, right? And so by starting small, by starting as the infrastructure, we're really hoping to give the end user the confidence, the mainstream person, the person that doesn't understand all this crypto jargon, the ability to step in and really feel comfortable in Web3.
Well, it's a difficult problem, or a challenging problem, and the research around this was completed kind of within the last few years, and some of that initial research that was completed has already been kind of deemed unsafe or obsolete, and new protocols have come out that address these concerns. So the space is evolving constantly, and we're seeing new cryptographic papers coming out around this as recently as a couple months ago. So it's a new space, and there's not a lot of tooling around it yet to make it super easy to use. So making it easy for an end user is kind of challenging.
I think we're a unique collection of individuals that have truly kind of embraced this mission of making Web3 something for everyone and not just for the technically adept institutions. To take this technology and really bring it down a step, or make it usable for retail users as well as normal developers who do not necessarily have a degree in cryptographics. And that's why I think we are uniquely placed to do this. It's truly about the mission and driving this forward in a responsible way.
So, I mean, we're just starting to introduce this idea to Web3, to our friends, to the community. I think for me, what's most exciting about this, the technology that we're placing in the hands of developers will enable them to think of new solutions that were previously out of reach for them, and really, building the community, educating people on how the technology works, but then also encouraging them to think outside the box and to think, what other solutions, now that I have distributed ownership, distributed risk, account recovery, these kind of core tenets of our account infrastructure, now that I have this, and now that it's fully decentralized, how can I better solve these other problems for DeFi, for ownership, for NFTs, for Web3, for data privacy, and for me, working with those developers, finding out who's in the community, who's trying to tackle these giant problems that we've identified as digital internet user people, and supporting them on their journey, I think really gets me excited to see what can come out of all of this creativity with all these new tools.